West Lafayette Mayor is speaking out today after receiving multiple threats over pandemic-related decisions.
I spoke with a Purdue expert about why this seems to be a recurring problem among public officials.
They just naturally associated all the problems that they've had with COVID with me. And that's when the death threats started coming in.
West Lafayette Mayor John Dennis says it started with COVID-19 restrictions early on in the pandemic.
You should die. I hope you get COVID, die. One of them actually went so far as to say some stuff about my family.
But the threats got worse in August after a comment Dennis made during a public meeting.
I referenced them as unvaccinated assholes. And unfortunately, that sometimes is accurate. You know, it wasn't the right thing to say, and I get that. But that's when everything exploded.
Dennis says he feared not only for his life, but the lives of his family and friends. He even had police increase patrols in his neighborhood.
And the threats came in almost daily. And I got threats from as far away as Australia.
Purdue professor Glenn Sparks studies the effects of mass media. He says this behavior is common when people have something taken away. Sparks blames the sudden restrictions and mandates due to the pandemic.
It leads people to want to lash out and express that hostility toward the people who they perceive as the ones responsible for taking away those free behaviors or threatening them with elimination.
Sparks says just because it's a common behavior, it doesn't make it right.
Making death threats and expressing our hostility to people, verbally assaulting them and threatening physical assault, that is not going to result in creating a better social world, a better social environment. It's going to be destructive.
Despite the threats, Dennis says he wouldn't change any decisions he's made when it comes to COVID-19.
I feel confident that the actions that I took were the right thing to do based upon science and based upon sound medicine and based upon just making sure that the people that I serve are going to be able to continue to live and prosper in this community.
Dennis says he isn't alone when it comes to the threats. He says other public officials have been threatened when it comes to their decisions during the pandemic.